So I'm going to make this as simple as possible to understand. Trump and Bondi just coordinated to straight up con their own base into thinking that they're seeking transparency with Epstein, when in fact they are doing the polar opposite. We can all agree that the calls to release the Epstein files have hit a fever pitch. Trump can't escape it. He's dissembling. His always successful strategy of manipulating the media is falling flat for the first time ever. His excuses are all over the place. He's claimed that the files don't exist, then he's claimed that they do exist, but that they're fakes that were forged by Obama. And so clearly, he needed something to take the heat off of himself. He needed to buy himself time. Enter Pam Bondi. Trump takes to Truth Social and says, based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. And Pam Bondi swooped in and replied, President Trump, we are ready to move the court tomorrow to unseal the grand jury transcripts. All very official. They are cosplaying as transparent, but the only thing that's actually transparent here is the obfuscation efforts. Pam Bondi, as Attorney General, already has access to the Epstein files, the thousands and thousands and thousands of materials. They're already there. If she wants to release them, she could. But she knows she can't because there's clearly something that's implicating her boss, Donald Trump. And so instead, she is pretending, playing make-believe, that the real treasure here are the grand jury testimonies. First of all, those are only a small fraction of what's contained within the files, maybe 5 to 10% or something around there. Second of all, as part of the initial investigation when it happened years ago, all of those grand jury testimonies get summarized and are included in the Epstein files. So she basically already knows what all of those testimonies say. And third, those testimonies are only related to the crimes of the two people who were convicted in those trials. That means Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. We don't need to know about their culpability. One of them is dead and the other is in prison. We need the other stuff implicating the other people, which of course the grand jury testimonies won't tell us, but that's the point. Trump and Pam Bondi don't actually want us to have insight into that stuff. They expressly don't want us to see it. And so instead, they're sending us on a wild goose chase, running after something that we never asked for. We don't want the grand jury testimonies that incriminate a dead guy and his incarcerated partner. We never asked for that. But that's what Trump and Bondi are making a big show of giving us because they need to knock everybody off the scent and buy themselves some time. And by the way, a judge might not even grant that request. Like, there are strict rules regarding what grand jury testimonies can even be released and why they can be released. So Trump and Pam Bondi know that, but they also know that if a judge rejects their request, then they can just be like, "Ah, man, we tried. If it wasn't for that communist, Marxist, leftist judge, we definitely, totally would have been able to give you everything you wanted." And of course, again, Trump and Pam Bondi know that, but that is the point. They need to manipulate the base into thinking that they're getting transparency when in fact they are getting obfuscation. It's becoming increasingly clear that the only goal of this administration is to prevent the release of these files, which is why Trump has leaned in on Republicans in Congress to block the release of the files, not once, not twice, not 3 or 4, but 5 separate times in the past week. Twice in the Rules Committee, twice on the House floor, and once on the Senate floor. If Donald Trump truly wanted transparency, like he claims, he would release the files. But he doesn't, and so instead, Pam Bondi blocks the release, Congress blocks the release, and they make up excuses to frame their actions as doing something helpful, as opposed to the reality of the situation, which is that this is all just a sleight of hand. So look, my question for Trump supporters is this, and I ask this in 100% good faith. What's your goal here? Is it tribalism and protecting the leader of the Republican Party at all costs, which, by the way, is your prerogative if that's what you want to do? Or is it full transparency about what happened with Epstein and accountability for everybody involved in his crimes? Because you can have one or the other, but apparently not both. Because if that was a possibility, Trump would have released the files already. The fact that he won't really does tell you everything you need to know. Trump came into office with a mandate to expose the people who commit crimes with impunity. And not only is he failing to do that, he is entrenching the very system that he vowed to dismantle. This president sold his supporters a bill of goods, and he's trying to convince you not to believe your lying eyes.